Folks, this is Kenny with Just the Right Angle doing a real quick news update on an event that just happened. I was unaware of this. There's apparently a piece of legislation in the federal government that will that deals mainly with anti-Semitism. What has happened is the leftists under George Soros and other basically America, Western civilization hating organizations have decided to bankroll yet some more thugs to go off and start riots, this time at campuses, regarding the Hamas effort to exterminate Jews. By the way, that is what, for those who don't know, it started with the murders of over 1,000 and the capture of several Jews in another attack in October, and since then there has been a war where once again Israel is fighting for its right to exist, while those in the pedophile death cult of Islam are trying to exterminate them. And sorry, folks, if I'm just a little bit off here. So this bill is HR 6090. It is the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act. I think we're all pretty aware of anti-Semitism. What it's supposed to do is give some language regarding what anti-Semitism is, and then have some changes to what I guess Congress can do about it. And some of those changes can include anything from, I believe, cutting funding to possible arrest. I was first made aware of this bill by a tweet by Melanie Mack, who often does Christian stuff, mainly does Bible reading, and then of course talks about video games and culture. But she mentioned this, and then not long afterwards, I heard Charlie Kirk, who has put out a campaign against this bill. Here's a kind of this was a retweet she did of Matt Walsh, who just has some bullet points regarding the bill. You supposedly can't criticize the state of Israel, but you can criticize other nations. Symbols and images associated with classic anti-Semitism, which some people could say, of course, most people who know is the swastika, but then some people could say, well, the cross is Christian, and there were some Christians that killed Jews, so you can't use that as well. And then there's other people that are saying that you can't use Bible verses that talk about how the Jewish leadership did call for the death of Jesus. They charged him with blasphemy, and then they handed him over to the Romans to be crucified. For those who don't know, at the time when Jesus was executed, the Jews were not able to perform it. They were not supposed to be able to do executions. So they had to hand him over to Rome, be crucified. Or I may take that back. They may have been allowed to execute people and kill them, but they weren't allowed to do a crucifixion. And some historian could double check on that. So I looked at the bill itself, and I actually went to do some other research. I went to Gab and I looked over this, and this guy posted that the anti-Semitism bill, in quotes, passed by House, everyone's getting their feathers ruffled about, bottom of page 5 and top of page 6 under section 624B, constitutional protections. Nothing in this act shall be construed to diminish or infringe upon any right protected under the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. So this guy is posting saying, look, there is a protection for what you would call constitutional rights. Now, of course, we have a lot of laws on the books that are supposed to protect our rights that are often ignored by which you would call zealous anti-Christian judges, Soros funded DAs who should have never been into office but are of course given money, thanks in large part to the incompetence of the Republican Party, who oftentimes who should have defunded these judges on a federal and state level, but simply won't do so. Now, for those who are wondering, this is what this guy from Gab shared. It's this section right here. And if you want to go to see the bill, I'll post a link to it on my Rumble page. on this broadcast so that you can see it. And then I've got a section here. I thought about calling to block this bill, but I've decided, I'll just let people kind of decide for themselves. I think overall it is a waste of time. I think it, like I said before, it won't put handcuffs on Soros or the people that have been funding this anti-Semitism for years. I think we all know that. I think pretty much anybody who's researched this knows that George Soros gets a pass on everything. He gets to do whatever he wants, and none of our legal system will do anything about him, and only a few politicians will even say anything about him. And sadly, that's probably going to still continue to be the case. But you can let people know kind of the details of this. Okay, here's the link to the bill that I'm posting here. And I've posted this before to other people so that they get an idea of what's going on. And again, this is, like I said before, I think overall it's a bill that's not needed. But at the same time, I would say I would urge people to vote against this. Yeah, Ray Lehman Facebook just asked what. If you just, sorry, I may have posted on Facebook a little bit. There is a bill called HB6090. It's before it just passed out of the U.S. House overwhelmingly. It is a bill that is supposed to define or make aware of anti-Semitism and give some more flexibility regarding the government. But there are some people that are saying that this bill could be used to abuse, to go after any kind of free speech regarding Israel or a Jewish state. And of course, it could be used to go against the Bible. And honestly, I kind of, they do have a valid point, especially with the way things have been going for the courts for decades, where, all the way from the separation of church and state, which by the way is not in the Constitution. That was a losing opinion done by Klansman and Supreme Court Justice Hugo Black that was later used by the ACLU in the 60s to remove prayer and the 10 Commandments in the Bible from schools, taxpayer-funded schools, which have been in there for nearly 2 centuries. So I think that's, if people are worried that this bill could be used, even though it has a section that's supposed to protect the Constitution, that it could be used to abuse Christianity, I think they have a valid point. But I'm just letting people know, let them decide for themselves of where they want to do with this bill. Again, it's HB6090. Some are calling it a resolution, but when you go to congress.gov, I show it as a bill. And it supposedly does have some enforcement of federal anti-discrimination laws. So it's not just a statement. It's supposed to be, something that has enforcement to it. That has teeth, as they say. But anyway, let me know what y'all think. I may call my senator and tell him to vote no on this. I'll kind of see how that goes, but I just want to give a quick update on that. And y'all have a good day.